review of H.P. Lovecraft's The Old Ones. It uses elements from different Cthulhu Mythos stories, but only the end scene is a direct adaptation of one of Lovecraft's very short stories. You're not going to believe this, but I really enjoyed this film. And I think a lot of Lovecraft fans will also, but there are two very contentious points that I will cover that could justifiably piss you off. Let's do the good stuff first. So this was filmed in Los Angeles, and that is abundantly clear because it has a great production value. Pretty much all of the cast are seasoned actors with a good 20 credits to their name. One, funny enough, actually starred in the other Lovecraft film, The Deep Ones, but that's probably because they were both the same director. The camera work was perfect. Variety of shooting styles, all in the right place and not overdone. And I don't know if it was the quality of the equipment or if they did it in camera or in editing, but they got the film speed and the lens filter right so that it looks like a real film and not some crappy digital camera from Walmart. Nothing will ruin an independent film faster than shooting on digital with no adjustments. They overdid the distortion of the old ones' voices. That should have been lowered and blended better in posts, but it could have been the director's decision. The rest of sound design was spot on, fabulous editing job, and the background music was excellent and mixed perfectly throughout the movie. Now let's talk about the special effects. Almost all of it was practical effects. Most of the monster masks were off the shelf, like the fish man we've seen in the last 5 Lovecraft films, but they're high-quality silicone masks from immortal masks that are normally used in professional haunted houses, easily running $500 a piece. So you're not getting these at Party City. And there was only one repeat Fishman mask, but they repainted it and added some stuff. I follow immortal masks on YouTube, so I of course recognize them, but the average viewer isn't going to notice. Immortal is also the one that makes the Cthulhu mask and baby Cthulhu prop that I'm sure most of you have probably seen. The 2 full-body monsters might have been the same, only repainted, but they did a good job with the camera work and quick cuts, so even I didn't catch it. The few times CGI was used was in things like energy bursts and stuff like that. Stuff that it was required for. The practical effects, the well-done camera work, the characters were quirky with just the right amount of over-the-top, what the fuck? Cheesy jokes that shouldn't have worked, but fit the tone of film, even some completely unnecessary full frontal nudity. That's when I realized why I enjoyed this film so much. This felt like a direct-to-video horror comedy from the 80s. The kind you took the chance on from just the cover art alone and were pleasantly surprised with how much you liked it. I respect that they used some of Lovecraft's direct lines from the stories, but they did rely a little too much on them. They could have gotten rid of a few instances where it just didn't fit. And a lot of the character names are from Lovecraft stories only for the sake of needing a character name and aren't related to the real characters. The one major exception was the direct adaptation I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and that story is From Beyond. I'm not going to spoil how it was used in the movie, but I will say that all the sets were great, but this one was the best. The resonator was beautiful. The practical effects for the thing swimming in the ether were kind of clunky and didn't work like Stuart Gordon's version, but I will say that this actor's portrayal of Tillinghast was the highlight of the movie. It is different than Jeffrey Combs' take on the character, and he only has the one scene as opposed to carrying a whole movie, but it's a really cool, unique spin on the character. So all that said, it was definitely worth the $5 rental on Amazon. But before you click on over and rent it for yourself, let me go over the bad parts. My personal pet peeve that I hate the most in horror films rears its ugly head again. Cultists wearing white robes to a blood sacrifice. But I can let it slide this time because it was only for about 3 seconds in a flashback. But the next 2 could be make or break for the hardcore Lovecraft fans, and I get it. Because when they did the second one, early on, I was prepared to start tearing this movie apart. The first one, they go to see Nyarlathotep. He's the guy in the poster art, right there. or there. I don't know where I'm filming this right now. More great practical effects with him. I think they were trying to portray his set where he lived like it was modern ruins, a gritty industrial look. Still a very fitting with an 80s theme, but then I figured out what it really was. At first, it just looks like a junkyard. Then I realized by the way the old cars and shipping containers were all set up, Nyarlathotep lives in the field by a freeway where they play airsoft and or paintball. Tell me you know nothing about this character without telling me you know nothing about this character. It was such a letdown. Fortunately, the actor playing him did a good job, and they surprised me with the Lovecraft quote he used. But the second one? Oh man. If you told me this, and I hadn't seen and enjoyed the trailer beforehand, I probably wouldn't have watched this movie. The old ones are portrayed like they're demons in a shitty exorcist film who keep taking over human bodies so they can live on Earth. The actors did a really good job of portraying the struggle for control of the host bodies, but it makes it painfully clear that the writer, who is also the director, has now done 2 Lovecraft films, but has absolutely no idea what the Cthulhu mythos is about. So as its own horror comedy with a cool retro vibe, the movie is a really fun watch. But even with the awesome From Beyond part, as a Lovecraft film, it kind of fails. And so, the choice is yours, dear viewers. Let me know down in the comments if you're gonna give it a try or pass on this one. Be sure to subscribe for more horror, occult, Lovecraft madness. Until next time, Cthulhu.IT.